Well, folks, the Carolina Panthers finally do something right. Well, folks, the Carolina Panthers finally have done something right. Well, folks, the Carolina Panthers have finally done something right in this organization, which is rare when it comes to players and extensions and re-signing valuable players on this team. And they have extended running back Chuba Hubbard, $37.2 million over 4 years, $15 million guaranteed. And let's take a look back at his production year over year. There's a funny story out there, first of all, before we get into his stat lines, about Matt Rule's wife wanting Matt Rule to draft Chuba Hubbard. Yes, I am not making this up. You should go Google it after this video. Finish this video first, then go Google this story. I saw it pop up and thought it was a joke, but sure enough, on draft day or draft night, Matt Rule's wife had a conversation with Matt Rule and said, hey, you need to take Chuba Hubbard. So Baylor and Oklahoma State played each other way back at some point during Matt Rule's coaching career, and she saw how good he was and said they needed to draft him, which was fascinating. We also got to hear from Brad Idzik, the offensive coordinator today, and his connection to Chuba Hubbard goes all the way back to college. He said he was a graduate assistant at Stanford, and part of his job was just to find players. Like, it doesn't matter where, doesn't matter who, get tape on players, get their grades. So he found Chuba Hubbard. He took it to the team, and I think he said there were just some issues with eligibility, coming over from Canada, grades, things didn't line up. Not that he had bad grades, it just didn't line up. So he never got to see him. Of course, he made it on to Oklahoma State, had a fantastic career. But here we go. 2021, appeared in all 17 games, 172 rush attempts, 612 yards, 5 touchdowns, had 174 yards receiving and 1 touchdown. In 22, production dropped, 466 yards on the ground, 2 rushing touchdowns, 171 yards receiving. Last year was his best year by far. We've all talked about that. We all feel that if he got a few more touches earlier over Miles Sanders, that he would have eclipsed 1,000 yards. 902 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns, and then 233 yards receiving. This year, he has already matched his season best with 5 rushing touchdowns, and he still has 8 games to go. 665 yards and 108 yards receiving, and the 1 touchdown. He has embodied what it means to be a Carolina Panther, what it means to keep pounding, his work ethic. And folks, we hear about it. We've heard about it through various coaching staffs, but really this offseason, how much time he spends on the jugs, him and Tommy Tremble. And we hope Tommy Tremble can turn the corner. But just how dialed in he is to his craft, to perfecting his game. I mean, he's already on pace now for a little over 1,200 rushing yards. It's off the charts. It is absolutely the thing the Panthers need. And so you flip this now, and the conversation becomes, well, why did you draft Jonathan Brooks? And a lot of people said that when we drafted him, but now that we have signed the number one overall pick, now that we've signed our number 1 running back on this roster, I had to go out today and I put together a note kind of summarizing my opinion, and it was Matt Miller of ESPN.com, NFL Draft Scout. He was questioning the decision, and I said, I can't believe I have to explain this to a guy that works for ESPN as an NFL scout. So when we can start by saying that 2-back systems are effective, so they keep players fresh, create matchup challenges for defenses, and allow offenses to adjust based on game situation. Folks, we can go back and look at some very successful 2-back systems, and one of the best 2-back systems that has ever existed has been with the Carolina Panthers. Jonathan Stewart and D'Angelo Williams. That 1-2 punch. So we go back to the 2009 season. Stewart had 1,133 yards rushing, 5.1 per carry. Williams had 1,117 yards, 5.2 per carry. Explosive, balanced attack. They ranked 3rd in the NFL in rushing yards that season. the shared workload can happen, and especially with Canales talking about wanting to be run heavy and making that an integral part of this offense, it can work. We don't have to stop there. We can go back to Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara in the 17 season. Ingram had a little over 1,100 yards rushing, 12 touchdowns. Kamara had 728 yards rushing, 6.1 yards per carry, and 800 receiving yards. That's the thing. Jonathan Brooks likely will be heavily involved in the passing game, and there's a lot of things you can do with him. You can see what Canales is trying to do with Miles Sanders. I think Jonathan Brooks is going to be a better version of that. How about the 2022 season? Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. So Chubb and Hunt created a powerhouse. Chubb ran for 1,500 yards, 5 yards per carry. Hunt, not nearly as much, but 468 yards rushing. Same season, you had Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott of the Dallas Cowboys. Pollard recorded over 1,000 yards rushing, 5.2 per carry. Ezekiel Elliott, 876. And you have that short yardage back, goal line situations, the rotation that you can do. Even this is a good season for two backs in 2022. Yeah, Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. Jones rushed for 1,100 yards, 5.3 per carry, and Dillon had 770. And so as far as the Panthers drafting Jonathan Brooks, they're looking to build some depth and ensure there is versatility. And we also understand that injuries happen across the NFL. I know that some folks wanted other positions, but when you look at this dynamic group of young playmakers that the Carolina Panthers are putting together, it's clear what Dan Morgan wanted, what Dave Canales wanted, and I am excited to see this group grow and hopefully grow alongside Bryce Young. That's going to do it for today, folks. See y'all.